Loyalty is everything. Every now and then I catch myself thinking about friendships that didn't work out or relationships that didn't work out. And I have a tendency, and I think a lot of guys, we have a tendency to overanalyze the situations, think, what did we do? Try to put the pieces together, try to think, like, was it me? Was I inconsiderate? We tend to blame ourselves a lot as men for things that didn't work out in the past, whether it be friendships with men or relationships with women or maybe a relationship with a family member or something like that. But I'm starting to realize 99% of every relationship I ever had that went bad, it stemmed from a problem of loyalty. It stems usually from the other person not being loyal, not willing to stick it out with you through tough times, not willing to be honest with you and give you the truth. Always, maybe manipulating or doing something, sneaky behind the scenes or something like that, something, devious. And that stems from a lack of loyalty. And the thing is, if you don't have loyalty in a relationship, let's say with a woman, you don't have anything at all. It doesn't matter how much they love you. It doesn't matter if they cook for you and clean for you or treat you like a god. If you don't have loyalty, with someone, you don't have anything. Because what is a friendship? What is a relationship without loyalty? Someone's going behind your back and stabbing you in the back. What do you have? You don't have anything there. And most people's biggest problem is they don't know how to be loyal, especially this day and age. People don't understand the concept of loyalty and being devoted to someone. They'll give you little pieces of what you want, but they don't really know how to be loyal in the long run. And someone who can't be loyal is lower than garbage. I mean, what use do you have if you can't be loyal? If I can't depend on you, if I can't know your, if I can't know that you're gonna be there when I need you, you're only there sometimes, when it suits you. You're what use are you to me then? I'd rather have a friend that's loyal, that doesn't really have anything going for them, than have a friend that's some successful hotshot and they're kind of like, oh, they get back to you every now and then and they make plans with you and then they cancel and everything's always wishy-washy. You never really know where you stand with them. What is that? What is the point of that? Weird, flaky, unloyal, dishonest people, especially, like women in relationships these days. They just go from guy to guy to guy and they can't be loyal to any of them because being loyal, I believe that's a trait that, you teach your kids to how to be, honest and loyal and, respect your word and be, keep your promises and stuff like that. I don't think people in this generation, men or women for the most part, know how to be loyal and value keeping their word and value keeping their promises. And when that's the mentality you have, you're never going to have anything. Look at all these women running around, the ugly ones and the attractive ones. None of them can keep a man. None of them can stay loyal to one man. They let their hypergamy overpower them, and they're like chasing the better options. Look, I'm not saying hypergamy to a degree isn't normal for women, but there was a time back in the day where women understood their own hypergamy, and they're like, look, I found a pretty good guy. I found a pretty close guy to what I want. I need to stick it out with him. If I jump ship, I'm going to have to start all over from the bottom. I'm going to be loyal. I'm going to be devoted because building with this person is where the real value comes in. It comes over time. So you got people these days that don't understand the concept of loyalty. They spend their entire lives jumping around, starting at level 1, and they never amount to anything, It's like you start building a house, and then a couple days into it, you're just starting to build some wood. You knock it all down, you start building a new house. Well, you can't build another house in 2 days. It takes 6 months, a year, 2 years to build a house. And a relationship or a partnership or whatever, that's like 5, 10, 15 years. So when you're starting over at level 1 all the time, you're never gonna have anything. And I keep so few people around me these days because if they're not loyal, if I know they're not really like on some ride or die, kind of thing, I don't want them around me because you're useless. You're trash. You're garbage. A person who can't keep their word, a person who can't be honest, a person who you can't trust to be loyal and dependable. What value are there? They're trash, And this is, I would say, 99% of women these days are like this. I'd say about 85 to 90% of guys are like this. As MGTOW, we go into how garbage these women are. But a lot of these guys out here are blue pill. A lot of them are simps. A lot of them don't understand loyalty. They chase the next thrill. They're just chasing sex. They're not loyal to anything either. They're like dogs. You treat them like a dog. They're not loyal. You know, not even a loyal dog, but like a stray dog that'll just, anyone can feed it a piece of meat. They don't care. Men and women are like this these days. They don't understand the concept of loyalty. And loyalty is everything, and like I said, if you have a group of, let's say I have my own little group of 4 to 5 guys that are loyal to me, like ride or die, we could start an empire together. We could start a corporation. We could start all kinds of things. When you have people that you can always depend on, those are the people you can build with. Like I said, these days, this concept of loyalty is just alien to most people. It's so far removed from them. So you have a bunch of people running around confused, trying to one up each other, trying to manipulate each other for little things. What are you getting out of this? The woman who manipulates a guy for a free dinner, pretending she's a loving, loyal woman to trick some guy into buying her a nice dinner, taking her on a nice dinner date or whatever. Okay, yeah, you got to eat some lobster, but what happens the next day? You didn't build anything. These women who manipulate these guys who pretend to be the loving, loyal woman only to manipulate them and then like pull a bait and switch, you're actually screwing yourself over in the end. You would have gotten more out of him being loyal to him because you would have had him forever, and then he would have given you those things you want forever. When you pull a bait and switch on a guy, now you have to start over with another guy. So you're getting older and older and less valuable because women depreciate like milk. So you're getting older and older and you're playing the same games, but one day those games aren't going to work anymore. You would have been better off just not manipulating, finding a decent person. This applies to anybody. And you pay the price, you pay the price for being a dishonest, unloyal, disingenuine, person. You pay the price for that because you're going to get older and you're going to have less people to depend on, in your old age, when you're this manipulative, shisty person. There's you get more out of life when you do things the right way and you build things versus when you rob and steal. Like, for example, let's say you got a guy that just steals for a living. He like robs banks for a living. He breaks into houses. He always has to take a big risk to get what he wants. And he runs out of it fast. He robs a bank for a couple $100,000. He blows through it. He has to take another risk with his life and rob another bank. And it's always really big risks, for not even that much money, or breaking into houses, risking getting shot to steal some money, versus the guy who starts a business from scratch. Maybe it takes 10, 15 years, but he slowly does things the right way. And now he has money coming into him that he doesn't even have to work for. He's sleeping at night and his corporation is making money for him. He doesn't even have to chase the money. He doesn't have to break into houses and rob banks. The money comes to him. You see what I'm saying? When you manipulate and you play shiesty games and you bait and switch people, you're thinking like a checkers player. Most women, they think like checker players. How can I screw this guy over in the moment? They don't even know how to screw over long term. They're not even thinking 20 years ahead. They're thinking right now. How can I use this guy for a dinner? How could I use this guy for some couple $100s of child support? How could I use this guy for a car? But all of that fades away. That's nothing. That's like Mickey Mouse hustling. When you build with a guy, when you say, I'm going to be loyal to this guy forever, that guy gives you everything. He buys you the house, you have the family, you're together for 20, 30 years, you're taken care of. You don't have to manipulate. You don't have to worry about how am I going to get the next lobster dinner, how am I going to manipulate the next guy. You don't have to play this constant game all the time, always looking for the next kill, always on the hunt for the next guy. And like I said, this applies to anyone, man or woman. When you're not loyal, you always have to be on to the next one, and that's exhausting. That's like that's just like an exhausting game to have to play, all the time. You never have peace and contentness because you're always on the hunt, So now you're like a 35-year-old woman still trying to use guys for free dinners at Applebee's when you could have had the happy life with happy husband, happy kids, stability. You're like still on the hunt playing these games, I know women in their 40s that are still kind of decent looking so they can use guys for like the dinners and stuff, but you can start to see like they're getting bored with it and they're like, damn, 20 years ago, I wish I just did it the right way. Anytime you do things the wrong way, you're impatient, you try to manipulate and use, you always pay the price for it in the end. Real success, real happiness, that comes from stability and loyalty and actually building things. Being a pillager, being someone who robs and steals and takes, you can't build with that. That's not a long-term solution. So, never, remember, don't feel bad when you have, relationships that didn't work out or whatever, because 99% of the time it's just that other person didn't know how to be loyal. and you didn't lose anything. You won by not having that person around, because if they can't be loyal to you, they can't be loyal to anyone. They're just going to burn themselves out over time and be left with nothing. So remember that you don't have to spend hours and hours putting the pieces together, thinking, what if I did this, what if I did that. Not most of the time it has nothing to do with you. This person just doesn't know how to be loyal, so they're just equivalent to garbage. You have nothing left to think about. You don't have to lose sleep over them, because they weren't loyal. So what use are they anyway? It doesn't matter if they had that 1 in a million personality or whatever. They're not loyal, so they're garbage. That's just what it is, straight up. I'd take loyalty over love any day. To me, loyalty is true love, not just oh, I love you, baby, make you feel good, but then you're doing messed up stuff behind my back. That's not love to me. Loyalty is everything.